Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Katie Gerberding with DEKRA. We're going to give everybody just a few minutes. It's right now just at 2:30, so we're going to give everybody a minute or two to log in, and then we will get started. All right, I think we will go ahead and get started. So again, good afternoon, everyone. This is Katie Gerberding. I am the Director of Customer Technology Support here with DEKRA. And we are very excited this afternoon to give you guys a demo of our new computerized maintenance management system, which some of you guys might know as PMA. So the team here has been working really hard on the upgrade, and we're excited to show you this afternoon where we're at and kind of what the next steps are. So just to go over a quick agenda, I am going to turn it over here in a second to Keith Boyer, who is going to do an introduction to Adaptive so that you guys kind of understand the new framework that all of the Insight VS solutions will sit within. He is going to do the demo for CMMS and show you all the new exciting things we can do and how it's all going to work. And then we plan to save some time at the end for any questions and answers. And then finally at the end, we will go over next steps. So how you can start to take advantage of this new functionality. If you do have any questions, because of the number of people on, I do believe the audio is shut off, but there is should be a chat box. You can, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in there and we will get those answered at the end. So I am going to turn it over to Keith.
Hello, I am setting up my screen share here. Katie, can you please let me know when you can see it?
I can see it and I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so first we're going to begin with a brief discussion of what the Adaptive platform is to give you all context of sort of the core platform that we are discussing when we're talking about modernization of the legacy Insight VIA platforms. So Adaptive is a modernized platform that is going to give us a foundation on which we can build these modernized modules as we bring them over from legacy Insight VIA. So it's going to give us some core features that are significant improvements from Insight VIA to begin with. to give us a little context in thinking about the advantages and benefits you'll get from the adaptive platform that you may not currently be receiving an insight via, I thought that I would start by showing granular permission, the ability to, on an individual functionality level, give further abilities and responsibilities to your users either at a role level in adaptive or at a user level. So what we are looking at here on my screen is we are seeing the roles page within adaptive. So this is standard across the entire adaptive platform and will be an advantage you'll get no matter which modules you use in adaptive. So this will also apply to CMMS, which we'll be covering here today. So first here, we're seeing a few roles that have been created within this adaptive tenant. And I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of how you can control the access and ability each of these roles have and any users associated with these roles on a very granular level. So here with administrative rights in my administration menu item, I have selected roles and I will edit this coach role that we see here. Here we have the edit role modal window open, and you can see there's a role properties tab and a permissions tab. I will be concerned with permissions here. So this is our permissions tree. This is a large tree of granular functionalities that you can enable or disable, as I said, either at the role level for all users associated with that role or at the individual user level. In order to enable a particular functionality for a user, you can simply check it, and then you can give them limited access to different functionalities than they would normally have access to. So for example, by clicking this, I would give all users with this particular role the ability to access the administration menu, but the only item within that menu would be departments, and then they would have the ability to create new departments from here. On the user level, here instead, I'm looking at individual users within this tenant, and I can come to my user, select permissions, the window opens, and again, we see the same permission tree where I can enable individual rights for this user. So for example, I want this user to not only be able to edit and view work orders, I would also like them to have the access to be able to delete ad hoc work orders. So after making these changes and saving, I will then push this functionality to the user and they will have access to carry out the functions that I have enabled for them. So this is just one of the many advantages of the adaptive platform that I wanted you to have the context of thinking about while we go through the specific modernization efforts on this particular module. This is going to be advantages you will have throughout the system. So with that being covered, let's get started on taking a look at the modernized PMA or CMMS module. So the first step here, you can see I am in the system as the user Jeremy Myers. That will always be displayed in the top right corner of my screen. And then the tenant that I am currently active in, this would be a particular client. So my organization is Wiley E. Coyote Grains. Here we see the landing page. This is what Jeremy will see immediately after logging in. He will land on our adaptive dashboards. Now we'll cover some functionality of the adaptive dashboards in a little greater detail later. But for now, this is the page that Jeremy will land on. And the first action that Jeremy is going to be concerned with taking today is Jeremy is a worker out in the field. He knows that there are a number of overdue work orders at the location that he is working at today. And he is going to locate and close one of these work orders. In order to do this, I'm going to come to my CMMS menu item. I hover over to see my submenu items. This is familiar to those of you using the legacy platform, but we have updated the UI here, so it's a little easier to read and navigate. First step, I'm going to navigate to my work order calendar page. As we look at this, I'd like to just put in the forefront of your mind that we are currently in our development environment. As we look at this, all speeds will be improved as it goes out to our production environment and when you're seeing it. So if you're concerned with the speed at all, that is going to not be the same case. All right, so here we see the work order calendar. Across the top of the page, we have a few filters available to us. We have our open/completed filter, our not overdue or overdue filter, and then additionally, we have access to some advanced filtering options when we click the button. So click the filter button here. So upon clicking, I can see I have organization units, departments, systems, and assignees within that I have access to within my tenant. In order to, we can see here, Jeremy has access to a large number of work orders at a large number of organization units. Jeremy has a particularly high level of access. So I'm going to need to filter my view down a little bit to find the work order I am looking to take care of today. In order to do that, I'm going to start with my open completed field. I'm going to select open. I'm not concerned currently with any work orders that have been finished or marked close. I am looking to close one. Next, I know that there's a number of overdue work orders, and so for the time being, I'm going to focus my efforts there. I'll select overdue in this dropdown. And then I am working at a particular organization unit today. And since Jeremy Myers is a user who may travel from organization unit to organization unit with access to a number, I'm going to select my filter button. And I'm going to filter for the organization unit I am at today. Today, Jeremy is in Dallas, Texas. I am going to update my current filter. I can either save as a new filter and rename this Dallas if this is a filter I'll be using frequently, but for my purposes today, I'll simply update my default filter. We see as I hit update, my new filter is applied, and many of the work orders that I saw on the list below have been filtered off my view. So now I can see here, I have only only work orders that are marked in red. This is how I can differentiate, or I can determine that these are overdue work orders. I can also see that they are overdue by my warning symbol that's supplied in our symbols here. We have provided a legend above so that you know the meaning of the symbols that you're looking at. And I can confirm here that these that I'm looking at are in fact open, as there is no check in the provided circle, and overdue as I have the warning filter and they are displayed in red. So Jeremy is going to take a look here at this particular work order scheduled for the 25th. I can see my work order number, the asset that this work order is associated with, the organization unit at which it is assigned, and the job plan that is associated with it. So in order to view this work order, I will simply click the work order in the calendar, and it will open my work order window here for edit. So we can see across the top all of the details of this particular work order. We can see the asset name, asset type, job plan, the frequency that that job plan is set at. And on our first tab here below, we are viewing our asset details. So these are details that are associated with the asset and will appear across all work orders that are associated with this asset, meaning that the asset that we have here, Ford truck, is associated, has associated parts, and each of those parts also has associated attributes. So here we can see part bolded, belt A is our part. Electric motor is another. And then the fields that are available below it are our attributes. So here we have size, manufacturer, AC. So any entries that I make here, I'm going to make size, we'll say 40. That entry will be visible across all work orders associated with this asset or with this part. So then asset meter here, we have hours and miles, kilometers. This particular vehicle, our Ford truck, has 60,000 miles, and that has been updated on a previous work order and appears here. There has been a change to the mileage since that previous work order. So I'm going to update that to 65,000 miles. And then we have a note field here, which allows me to pass down any information that will be helpful to the next worker working on this work order. In this particular case, we are going to note that the driver's side door blocks is a little difficult to open, and I'm going to add the note with a recommendation that you jiggle the driver's side door handle to open this successfully. Next, we'll move on to our assignment tab. Here we can see the assigned due date, as well as the assignee. We can see that this work order is currently not assigned. I am going to assign it to myself so that we can track who is doing this work. Jeremy Myers is now in the assignees field. Next, we have our steps tab. On our steps tab, these are job plan steps that have been pulled into, are associated with this job plan from our job plan steps library, meaning each step was created individually and then grouped into the job plan that we see here. We can see this first question has a different format than the others. This is a demonstration of the control that you have when setting up job plan steps in the rich text editor. We were able to customize this particular font to appear just how this particular question to appear just how we needed it. You can see the others appear in a smaller size. On each job plan step, we have a series of responses, yes, no, NA, and they are presented in radio buttons, so I can simply click one of these responses to select it. When I click another, it will remove the previous selection, as only one can be made at a time. So Jeremy will go through the process of answering these questions as he moves down the sheet. And where necessary, we can enter a comment in the field provided to the right. These are dynamically resizable, so if my text has gone quite long, is longer than anticipated, I can drag this to the correct size for that, and I can shorten it as well. And that's mostly for my benefit as I complete this form, so I can easily enter the comments that are necessary. Next, I have my extra info tab. This is a demonstration of some of the field types that are available to you in our custom form builder. So this form has been built particular and is specific to this particular tenant. At the top, we have an information only section where I can provide text to direct the work being completed. I have a checkbox that I can list that I can configure to check items, either one or more. I have a drop-down field, which allows me to set both the field name and the choices within it, and so we can make choices there. Next, we have a date selector. This functions very similarly to many date selectors you will have seen. I can make a selection of today. I have a simple comment field that is available to me here. And then finally, a multi-employee picker. So if I need to associate other workers with this, I can do so. You can see here that within the field, it's been divided into site employees or employees with the default location of Dallas, Texas, or all others who have access to the site. I can filter this list by beginning to type the name of one of the users. This is a functionality you're going to see available in all of our drop-down or all of our multi-selection fields of this nature. Next, we have a work order files tab. In the event that I need to upload images or videos that are associated with the work done here, I can simply drag and drop my files into this tab, and we can see it is now uploaded, and I have a small thumbnail view of it for review. I can click that to make it larger. Our next tab is follow-up work orders associated with this work order. They originate from this work order, so each one of these has been added using our Add Follow-up button. When this is clicked, it will open a new work order entry page where I can specify the details of this particular follow-up order. We can see here, since I'm generating a follow-up, it is going to automatically default to the same organization unit, the same system selected, the same asset, and the same job plan as the originating work order. Jeremy's concerns today, however, are to close this work order. So we're going to come to our Close tab. We are going to select a completed date of today. That's updated in the field now. Next, we will select completed by, since I am the assignee and I have a completed date. Jeremy Myers appears here. I can mark down work done by other. In this case, I was directing a contractor group to this asset, and this work was carried out by others. I can mark down the work that was done associated with this closing this particular work order. And then to the right, we have some additional fields available. We have company hours worked, company labor cost per hour, contractor hours worked, contractor total labor cost, and materials. In this case, as we indicated, since the contractor group did carried out the work associated with the work order, we will update our contractor hours worked here. So 80 hours were worked at a total labor cost of $50,000, and we have $10,000 in materials. So these have been updated across. And finally, I come down to the bottom of my close section, and Jeremy can sign off on the work done on this associated with this work order. Here is a signature field, as you can see, and that will be pulled across to printed work orders. So to complete the process of closing this work order, I will save. We get a save notification. The window stays up for our review. And we will close this work order. So Jeremy has successfully closed the work order. It no longer appears in my work order calendar list, since I have this filtered to only display open work orders. Next, I'm going to move on to the work order list and give you a brief view of a different way to look through the list of work orders that you have access to. Again, we can see on this page, we have those same symbols that we saw in the work order calendar, and now we can see some of the different symbols in action. So this work order in the line is simply an open work order. It has not passed its due date. Next, we can see completed items marked with the checkbox in the circle, open overdue items that are not marked with the check and are displayed in red, and completed overdue items appear with a check and the completed overdue with the check and the warning symbol, but that warning symbol is displayed in green, as we see here. All right, to give us a brief overview of some of the filters, we are going to filter for completed work orders that were overdue. Within our, we've got a pretty broad date here, but this will include the due date of the work order that we're looking for. I can filter this list by those that I have selected so far by clicking the magnifying glass button, our search button. And it's going to be necessary for me to filter this down a little more specifically. So once again, I am going to open my advanced filter modal, and I am going to look for Dallas once again. I will update my current filter. And here we can see the work order that we just closed is this work order at the bottom of our list associated with the asset Ford truck, the asset type car 1. We have our work order ID. This is the job plan. And here we can see that due date of the 25th where it appeared in the calendar. So that demonstrates some of the options for reviewing my work order list, locating different work orders within it, and closing them out. The next step, I'd like to show you, demonstrate for you the simplicity of the single sign-on that we have created between the adaptive platform and the legacy Insight Via platform. Here you can see in my menu, log into Insight Via. I will select this item. And through our single sign-on, we can see I am logged into Wiley E. Coyote Grains, the very same tenant that I was previously. I'm logged in here as Jeremy Myers, and I can move through the legacy platform now to review any other preventative maintenance items of significance. To return to the adaptive platform, I'll simply click Adaptive. And now I have returned to the modernized platform for Jeremy within the same tenant. All right. The next step, I'm going to demonstrate some of the backwards compatibility between the legacy platform and adaptive. In order to do this, Jeremy Myers is going to create a new system. So I will hover over Administration. We'll come to Feature Setup. Here on our feature setup page, we can see the particular module that we're working within, in this case, our CMMS or modernized PMA module. We have the selections of systems, asset type, parts, attributes, critical safety devices, job plan step library, another access point to our work order list, which we viewed just a moment ago, and then our asset list. So from here, an administrator can create and manage the elements that come together to create a work order. For Jeremy's case, we are going to access the Manage Systems page. All right, here we see a list of our systems. Jeremy is going to create a new system using the plus new button. The Create New System window will open for him. We are going to create a new system that is called Hello from Adaptive. Save. I see. So here we actually are demonstrating an additional functionality, which is our status. So when Jeremy went to create Hello from Adaptive, there was an existing system within the platform that had been made inactive. So we can see here in our status column, Jeremy will, instead of creating this new system, since we have an existing one, reactivate. And we can see that I've changed from inactive to active in our status here. And on search, it remains. All right. So now I've returned to our Insight Via platform, and we can see the system that I've just added, Hello from Adaptive, appears in the legacy Insight Via platform. it was, since it was out of service in the adaptive platform, it did not appear within the Insight VIA platform. So the next step here, I'm going to delete this from the Insight VIA side. We can see it no longer appears in our list. We will return to the adaptive platform, search to open our list back up, and search for hello once again. And we can see that since it was deleted from the Insight VIA side, it remains in our list as we have include and active shown, but it has been now changed from the active status to the inactive status, meaning that it can no longer be associated with any other work orders going forward. So this is a demonstration of the backwards compatibility between the two platforms. In Insight VIA, the system was removed. In adaptive, the system remained in our database system as in an inactive state, and returning it once again to active will display it within the Insight VIA platform again. Next, Jeremy is going to return to our feature setup page. We're going to create an asset next. So Jeremy is going to, using many of the elements that have been created across our other administration pages, bring those together into an asset known in the Insight VIA platform previously as a machine. This is just one instance of some updated language that we have applied in the adaptive platform in order to cover more of the cases that they have been realistically used by our clients, in which they've been realistically used by our clients. So asset, more appropriate for a number of items we previously referred to machine. That machine does not adequately capture the nature of that item. So now that we are on our assets page, we will select the plus new button. Our create new asset modal will open here. We are going to create a new asset by the name of Combine 2. We will assign an asset number for this asset. For the time being, we are not going to assign an area or a department, but we will assign an organization unit. And we are going to assign this to the Aurora, Colorado organization unit. We have acquired a new combine. Our system, we are going to select our PMA default. And after organization unit and system are selected, our assets field will load with the assets that are available at that organization unit and associated with that system. So we will be selecting the asset type, industrial farm equipment. We can see once the asset type is selected, the associated job plans will become available. We see change air filter and belt conveyor inspection. If I attempt to save at this point, I can see the required fields that I need to complete prior to being able to save this asset. It's going to tell me the tab on which the field appears, and then the name of the field. I can also see the field itself that I need to complete has been highlighted in red. So we will select some dates here and a recurrence rule of quarterly. If I had a desire to upload any files, I could again drag and drop them here. And finally, we have our asset meter where we can record hours or miles or kilometers. These aren't relevant to the new asset that we're creating today, so we can simply save. And our new asset has been added into the list. We'll do a quick search to confirm, and we can see here Combine 2, which we've just entered. We have an asset number, the asset type name, and our system. We can confirm the appropriate organization unit, and we have a number of other details provided in the additional columns out to the right. To give you a look at some of the features you have with columns, you can click our vertical 3-dot icon to change the sort order, or to show and hide columns in this list based on the information that is relevant to you. All right, next we're going to take a quick look at our reporting subscriptions. So we are going to move on to our Explore Data menu item and Reports. Here we see our report library with all of the reports available in the modernized module. Our concern as Jeremy Myers today will be to take a look at our past due work orders report. I'll simply click View to open that report. The report will load. Here I can see past due work orders at organization units that I have access to. We can see a good number of organization units here as Jeremy Myers. Each one of these work orders is presented as a hyperlink. I can click this and open the associated record. But my concern as Jeremy Myers today is I need to set up a scheduled delivery of this report to myself in an emailed format on a weekly basis. I need to see specifically for the Highland, Kansas organization unit on a, I'd like to see it each Monday and receive it in a PDF format. So in order to do that, I'm first going to filter my report to only see the Highland organization unit. I will achieve this by, again, clicking my filter button to open my advanced filters. Here we can see we are on our default filter. I am going to give this filter instead a new name. I'm going to name it Highland to call out the organization unit I'm looking for. In the organization units field, I will search, again, using the dynamic text search for this location. I will select it. We can see now we have one item selected in this field. And coming back to our options to save our filter, previously we used update current filter to update our selected default filter. In this case, I want to save a new filter, and I will do so by clicking the Save as New Filter button. My selected filter will be applied, and I can see here in my drop-down list that I have created a new filter called Highland. I can switch back to default at any time I need to. No changes have been made to this filter. So now that I have this filtered down to just the past due items at the Highland, Kansas WEC Grains organization unit, I am going to set up a scheduled recurrence rule. So in order to do this, I will subscribe to the report by clicking my envelope item, and my subscription table will appear. We can see here this subscription table is empty. I currently have no subscriptions configured for this report. In order to add a new one, I'll click my plus new button, and the details page will open here. So I'll first name my new subscription. We're going to name it, give it a name of Highland Weekly Asset Type Summary. We are going to set the render format mode to PDF and give it no weekend schedules. We are going to set this at a weekly interval as opposed to a daily interval. We do have the options of daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And I want this to repeat at an interval of once every week. So in this case, I will leave the 1 selected. If I wanted to do every other week, I could set it up at an interval of 2 and then repeat starting on. It's going to default to the current day of the week, Wednesday. I would rather have this on Monday mornings. So I'm going to disable Wednesday. We'll get it on our Monday so that we can view and plan our action for the week. Finally, we have end options of never after a set number of occurrences. So if this was sent to me 6 times, it would no longer be sent, or on a particular date. In Jeremy's case, we're going to leave this at never. we're going to have this be past due and save. Now we can see our Highland Weekly Past Due report appears in our subscription list. So we have our filter name that is associated with it. When this PDF is sent to me, I will always receive it with this filter applied. I can see here the subscriber, who it was created by, and the scheduled date. I have another status column, so if I choose to, I can inactivate this report or this subscription to remove it from giving me weekly updates. So I will do that currently. I get a confirmation window. I will select yes, and then I can see that that subscription has now been removed. As I said, we will take a brief return to the dashboards now that you have the context of the pages and elements within the module. So here, another advantage of the adaptive platform, I can demonstrate some of the functionality of our dashboard for you. So this dashboard, CMMS dashboard, was shared to Jeremy. This is not one that he created himself. This was created at a higher level in the organization and shared to Jeremy. So I do not have the options to make edits to this particular dashboard. That's all right. I can review a number of very helpful dashboard widgets. To me, I can see here a metric card showing the % complete of all work orders that are included in my date range and my configured filters. I can see the % open that are currently overdue below. You'll notice that these items don't quite add up to 100%. That is due to the fact that we are showing all, this includes all work orders that have been completed, whether they are open or finished. Here we have the percentage of our overdue work orders. So these are our two different figures that do not add together. We have top machine costs here. I can see actually the Ford truck at Dallas or at the Dallas organization unit, I have just updated, and that $60,000 that came between contractor effort and the $10,000 of material has been added to the previous costs associated with this asset, and it has risen to the top. This is our top machine cost. We also have our top cost by organization unit. Here, Dallas is our top cost, and our top past due by organization unit. Here we have Dallas. Now, the reason that we're seeing in this way is I do have a configured filter here, and I have Dallas. If I want to open this up, I can instead select all organization units, and we will see these items. On dashboards, on my dashboard, this is a dashboard that Jeremy configured himself. So on this dashboard, I have set exactly the dashboard items that are relevant to my view. Here I can edit this dashboard simply by selecting our edit option to add further items into our dashboard. So here I've added a top cost by asset item. I can position this as is necessary. I can drag it to control that. I have further control of the layout using our, by switching to our edit layout view, returning to edit widgets to make further changes there. I can also share this dashboard. So here I can create a dashboard and send it to other workers in my organization that I have access to. So I can do this either by organization unit, role, or individual users is another of my options. Simply can select one and save to push it to that particular user. Finally, from the view of the dashboard, I can copy, I can hide, I apologize. And I can then return also. So I've hidden it, Now I've returned it to our view, and I can copy it there. So now we can see my dashboard copy, and I can make edits from this as necessary. All right, that gives us a view of some of the modernization efforts that we've made across this particular module. The next thing we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at some of the progress being made on the mobile application that the module mobile application for CMMS PMA. So here we'll navigate to some views of what these pages will look like. So this is the application landing page. After login, I will, if I have access to more than one module as the current user, I will have the options of all of the modules that are enabled for me. Here we can see some of the other modules available in the adaptive platform: BBS, corrective actions, incidents, policies. I will select my CMMS. If I only have access to the CMMS module, I will be taken directly to this page, which is the CMMS landing page. Here, I can see a card for each one of the work orders that I have, the open work orders that I have access to. I can see the details of that work order. So this is asset name, job plan name, the work order number, assignees of this particular work order. So I can see this one has been assigned to a worker, while the work order below is currently unassigned. Here I can see that this work order is overdue based on the fact that the due date is displayed in red. On work orders that are not overdue, we can see that those are not displayed in red. Additionally, the overdue work order has a colored line on the left side of it displaying in red to, again, visually call out that this work order is overdue, whereas my open work order that is not overdue, the color bar there is displayed in green. In order to filter this list, I can select my ellipsis icon. And here, once selected, we see our filter options open. So here I can search. I have the option to search by the asset name to identify or to find a particular work order. I can click my additional filters button. Here I can add additional filters, so I can filter for work orders assigned to a particular user. I can filter by work orders that are past due or work orders that are not past due. I can filter by a particular system, only seeing work orders associated with that system. Organization unit is the filter we have selected here, which we can see. This can be a particularly long list depending on the level of access that your user has. And so we've provided a text search bar at the top that you can filter this list by. You can select new items simply by tapping their checkbox. I can also filter by department and job plan type. I'll return here. Our next option that we have is we have a calendar filter, so we can filter by due date range. Here we can see the month that is selected, the day that is selected in our range, and these items these days that we see appearing here. This is a scrollable date bar, so I can scroll left or right, and each date that has a work order assigned on it, or with a due date of that date, has a dot displayed below it. If it has an open work order that is not overdue, we'll see a green dot. If it has an open work order that is overdue, we'll see a red dot. Next, I can filter by QR code. So these QR codes allow me to scan them with my mobile device. And that QR code is going to be associated to an asset. So when I scan the QR code of a particular asset, I will only see work orders that are associated with that asset in my work order list. Finally, we have one button here you see grayed out. If we have any advanced filters applied here, this will become active, and I can click that to clear all currently configured filters. All right. I have here on the actions button, once again, access to my Create New button. If I need to create a new ad hoc work order, I can simply click this button. And here I have, very similar to what we saw in the creation of the follow-up work order, I have organization unit, system, asset name, due date, assignee, area, job plan type, work to be done, and I can capture and upload videos and images that will be associated with this work order. We'll return here and we will open one of these work orders by tapping the card. I can see here the work order details for this particular work order. So we have, again, asset name, job plan, work order number, assignee, and due date. Since the primary function intended through the use of the mobile application is to find and close open work orders, we've changed the order of the tabs slightly within the mobile application. We have moved the close tab to be the first tab accessed on the work order. So here I can enter work done. I can again enter company hours worked, company labor costs, contractor labor hours and cost, material cost, and then I can capture and upload images and videos specific to the work completed. Next, we have our details tab, where again we can see parts and attributes. I can click this to expand the section, and here I can see the two parts associated with this work order, tires and motor. Clicking tires will then open the attributes associated with that part. It's the same case for motor, opening the attributes for that part. And finally, files associated at the asset level will appear here. So any files uploaded from the web application during creation or from a mobile device during creation from the mobile app will appear here and be available. In the event of PDFs, I will be able to download this PDF if I have Wi-Fi connectivity. It won't automatically download to the device to prevent us from filling your device storage. Some of these we do not have a limit on how many files can be there or how large those files can be, so it's important to put that in the hands of the user. Next, we have our notes. These are the notes associated with the asset. We can see here the user that entered the note, the date entered, and any videos or images that they've uploaded. I can add a new note and capture new images to upload to it. And after saving, it would be added to the list with my name and the date tag. We have assignments, very similar to what we see on the web application, simply a due date and an assignee. We have, again, our job plan steps here with the yes, no, NA option. Yes, no, if NA has been removed for that particular step. And we can see on the right an icon for comments. I can differentiate as to whether a comment has been added or not based on if it is highlighted, a comment has been added. So I will click this to review the comments that have been added to this particular work order, this particular job plan step. I can see the user that added it, as well as, again, a timestamp. This list of tabs available is scrollable, so I will drag to the right and we'll continue on to our extra info tab. Just as we saw on the web application, this is a demonstration of the fields available to us in our custom form builder. We have the checkbox, assign, or user picker, due date, comment, and then another multi-employee picker. Here, I can see files that are uploaded at the general work order level. I can upload some files myself while carrying out the work associated with that work order. And finally, we have the follow-ups tab, where I can view follow-ups associated with this work order and create new follow-ups as necessary. We see here any notifications that I receive while I am carrying out my work. So if a work order is assigned to me, I will receive a notification. If a a note has been added to a work order that I am associated with, I would see an application, or I would see a notification. And from the notification screen, I will be able to click through to view the open work orders that these notifications originated from. I can mark them as red to remove the number of that notification from my list. I can mark all as red to remove all 9. Here we can see a notification generated from a work order that has been closed since I received this notification. Since it is closed, it is no longer synced to my device, so I can view it by returning to Wi-Fi connectivity and clicking this View on Web hyperlink. That will take me to the adaptive web application to view. Finally, we have our profile screen here, which allows me to upload an image of myself, change my name as necessary, provide a time zone, and set my language. So that gives you a good idea of the functionality we're working on within the mobile application, taking you through that process. I'd like briefly, now that we've shown you the notifications here, to take you back to the platform to show you that as we've gone through the process, Jeremy Myers has received a number of notifications. I can see the number indicated above the bell as a badge here. Once I click that bell, I have my notifications window open. I can see that I have 2 new notifications. I have been assigned to a work order. This was the work order I created a short while ago and assigned to Jeremy. I can see that a new comment has been added, and I've got a work order that is assigned to me that has a scheduled due date. It's going to give me that due date out. Now I can set, again, all of these as red, which is going to clear that badge. I will be able to click through any of these items to be taken to the work order they originate from. And as Jeremy Myers, I can configure all of my notification settings as I desire them. So here we see all of our notification types. We have a type for on work order assignment, when a work order is assigned, created and assigned to me. I can also choose to enable this to email me a notification that I have been assigned to a work order, and that will go to the email that is configured for my user. I can set for a one-time work order creation, and again, have that deliver me an email. On note entered to a work order that I am associated with. On a work order that has not been assigned. So if I have a work order that goes past due and it has not been assigned, that will be sent to me as an alert. And then finally, on past due work orders. So on past due work orders, I am going to receive a list of past due work orders that I have access to. I can configure that to come to me via email, or I can simply click the notification as it appears in my notification bell and be taken to the list of past due work orders included in that. So I'm not receiving individual notifications in the event that I have a large number of past due work orders. We don't want that to be difficult to read. We want you to instead leverage some of our reporting and get access to that list. I'm going to take a look at some of our additional feature setup pages to give you a good feel of the UI improvements that we've been making. Personally, I feel we've got a much cleaner interface here, and I think this is one of the major advantages we're getting in a modernized system. We've taken a look at the Manage Systems page when creating a system. We can take a look, drill down into some of these additional pages. So here we have our Manage Asset Types. On our Manage Asset Types page here, again, I see a list of the asset types I have access to. In many of our tables in the modernized platform, you'll see that these are presented as hyperlinks. I can click a hyperlink to open the edit window for that particular element. So in this case, our asset type from the list, we see our asset type window. If necessary, we can rename, we can change system. Here we can view the job plans associated with it, the organization units at which it is available, parts associated with it, and we can add new parts as necessary, and files associated with that general asset. Here we again have a hyperlink available to open the job plan that's associated with the asset, as well as individual parts. And I can make any of these items inactive so they're no longer available to be associated with new work orders going forward. So to demonstrate some of that, I can click my job plans hyperlink, and here we see the job plan associated with the asset type. This allows me to make edits to the elements associated with with this asset without having to navigate away and to the job plan page. So here I can, directly from the asset, I can change the name of that job plan. I can review the steps that are associated with that job plan. I can add new steps from my job plan library. So here we see the job plan library and all of the steps that I have created there that are available to me. I have the options to, even at this level, to disable the NA options. So if this were not checked, yes and no would be the only options available on our job plan step. I can mark that step required, and I can upload files that are specific to that step. So if there are additional files, instructional or video or image based, I can upload those here, and it will appear on all work orders this job plan step appears on. Here we have our configurable frequency table that is associated with this job plan. So we have the option custom frequency, and we can create custom recurrence rules. So our recurrence rule builder is very similar to what you saw in the report subscriptions. We have the ability to mark them at a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly interval. Those will change the selections available below. So we can see here on daily, it's limited. I can set an interval, so it can be every 3 days if desired. Weekly, we can again interval, the day of the week, monthly interval, and a repeat starting on day of month. So I can set it's going to default to my current day of month. I can set it to instead give me generate a new work order on the first day of every month. Yearly, I can configure by the month that it will start, as well as the day of the month, or we can switch to the first Wednesday, let's say, for example, the first weekday of June. So we have a lot of customization of those recurrences that's available to you. I'm going to cancel this. Again, our files. Taking a look at the parts associated here, we can see after clicking the hyperlink, the part associated and the attributes that have been associated to that part. I can add additional attributes from my attribute list that's available to me. And save to update that. You can see that it's saved successfully. And if I reopen buckets, coil, which we've just added, is now available. We just took a look at through our asset types, the process of editing parts and attributes. We can take a closer look now at the job plan steps library, which is going to be a new feature within the adaptive platform. This allows us to create job plans that are saved in a list of available job plans and then can be associated with different, job plan steps, which can then be associated with job plans. So we don't need to continue to recreate job plan steps that are used repeatedly. Instead, we can come into our job plan steps library and we can use our rich text editor to set exact formatting that we desire for that setup. So here we have style options, text options for bold and underline, and you can do font color, more sizes. So this is very, very customizable to fit your needs on job plan steps, including providing links that are that you can click through. You'll notice on many of these pages, we have an available status column, which is going to give us the ability to activate and deactivate items so that they are not hard removed from your libraries. You can always come back into these pages, select your include in active item, and search to find job plans that have been deactivated and reactivate these items. So there we can see we've returned to an active status. In this way, you don't lose items that aren't currently relevant to you. If they become relevant again, you can bring them back to an active status and begin associating them with assets and work orders again. Can you hear me, Katie? I have received a message that my sound may have been lost.
I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Again, these hyperlinks that have become available in the modernization platform, these are a very handy tool for opening edit. We've saved a lot of space from some of our previous views simply by removing edit buttons and providing you with those click-through hyperlinks. And we have created an asset a little earlier. So these fields, again, what we see here, I wanted to bring us here to show you an asset associated with a department. A department is another advantage of the adaptive platform. Outside of a greater control of the organization tree in adaptive, fully customizable organization tree that can go down as many levels as is necessary to represent your organization hierarchy. We also have new elements that are referred to as departments. These cross-cut our organization units. And there are two available of these cross-cutting variables. We have departments and we have areas. So here we see this is associated with the grain handling department. The grain handling department is present at the Hiawatha location, but it is also present at many other locations. Grain handling is a department that is cross-cut across those organization units. And in my reporting, I can cross-cut by department to see the data collected at that department across all organization units it's associated with. So this is going to be an advantage to your reporting and your ability to take broader views across your organization. In addition, area is the same. An area can be a distinct physical location, such as warehouse, within a that's present within multiple location units, and it is again going to provide me the advantage of allowing me to cross-cut all data collected at my warehouses across all of my organization units. All right, Katie, I'd like to hand it back over to you to provide us time for our final wrapping up conclusions.
Perfect. Thank you, Keith. I think what we may do is just stay on your screen if you don't mind, because if in the off chance anybody has a question that would require you to show something.
Absolutely, that sounds great.
One thing I did want to mention, I neglected to mention in the beginning, is we did record this. So if you have folks at your facility that weren't able to attend, we will provide some instructions in just a few minutes after the Q&A on how you can access that recording. So what I'd like to do now is unmute everybody. And if you have any questions or comments, we can, well, I can try to unmute it. Unmute all attendees. I don't know if that worked. I'm hitting the unmute button, but maybe if anybody has a question, let us know. We can try to unmute individually. Any questions? If you raise your hand, we can try to. All right. So we have a question from Derek about, can we get a feedback or ideas button directly on the page? And I know that there has been some discussion around adding kind of the chat feature that you guys have in Insight Via, adding that to the top bar where the notifications were, so that you guys have that option. And then also some options for giving feedback. Now I will say you can always direct feedback to myself or to your client success manager, because we are tracking all of that. But we'll certainly put a plan in place for you guys to be able to ask questions as you get settled in this new system. Sandy asked, will you have more webinars on reporting? I find this very helpful for my organization. Yes. So I mean, to me, one of the biggest benefits is the reporting in the dashboard. So you guys have been putting a ton of information in, and now you're going to be able to see in different formats and kind of have some control over how you take that data and you see it on the back end. So we will have, once we get a little bit further along, we will have some more training and options available for reporting and the dashboards, and make sure you guys are getting what you need. And I love the dashboards too. These are good questions. Any other questions? All right. Well, Keith, if you want to push it back over to me, I'll show my last slide. Oops. You guys seeing that? All right. right, so next steps. Hopefully you guys are as excited as we are and are looking to, you know, how can you kind of get your hands on this? How can you get started? So we are going to suggest that everybody do a little bit of testing. While some of the functionality is the same, there are some new features and the look and feel is very different. So we would like to suggest that everybody do a little testing before they would just happen to turn it on for your facilities. So if you're interested in starting to test and kind of get your hands in there and start playing around a little bit, please contact your client success manager. So Carla, Rachel, Kayla, myself. If for any reason you're unsure who that is, my contact information here is here if you want to take down my email. And I unfortunately don't have the shortest name in the world, or my phone number. I can certainly get you to the right person if you don't know who your CSM is. And we can kind of start talking through what that would look like to get you in for testing, get the names of the people at your site who would like to do the testing, kind of talk about the feedback process, things like that. I mentioned that we will have a recording available as well. So the same, if you want to shoot me an email and let me know you'd like the link, I will get that to you as well. So any remaining last minute questions? All right, well, if not, then we will jump off a few minutes early. I'd certainly like to thank all of you guys for your attention today. I'd like to thank Keith for the fabulous demo. I think he did a great job representing all of the new functions and features. And we'd certainly like to thank the IT team because they've been working very hard to put all this together while maintaining the current systems. And it's been a lot, but I hope you're as excited about the changes and updates as we are, and we're ready for you guys to get in there and start testing it and using it. So please contact your CSM for more information, and we hope to talk to you soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.